The previous class, I told you about the procedure for design of spur gear. Now, in today's lecture, I'm going to solve a problem on spur gear. This is the given statement. Design a pair of spur gears with 14.5 degree full depth involute teeth. Means whatever the angle is given, that is alpha is given as 14.5 degree. This is the full depth involute teeth to transmit 5 kilowatt. Means power is given P, it is going to transmit 5 kilowatt with gear ratio. Gear ratio is nothing but it is I. Okay, gear ratio, you have the formula for this gear ratio. Okay, and he has given the gear ratio, it is 4:1, means I is equal to 4. The number of teeth on pinion is 20. The number of gears on pinion is denoted by Z1. Z1 is equal to 20 and it runs at 600 RPM, means the RPM of the pinion is 600 RPM and it is denoted by N1. Whereas for gear, we will denote it as Z2, that is teeth, and for RPM of gear, we will denote it as N2. The pinion is made up of cast steel heat treated. Uh, the pinion is made up of cast steel heat treated and gear is of phosphor bronze, and they have given that is SAE 65. These are the materials for pinion as well as gear. Okay, according to that, from the data and book table, you need to note down the stress value for that. Okay, the drive is subjected to light shock, means whatever the drive is there, it is subjected for light shock. Okay, suggest a suitable hardness, you need to suggest a suitable hardness. Okay, in this you need to completely design a spur gear. In the exam, if the complete design is asked, okay, it will be for full marks, that is for 20 marks. No, already we have note down the given data. Okay, next he has given the materials. Okay, and the material for pinion is cast steel heat treated, and for gear it is phosphor bronze. Okay, from the data handbook, that is page number 234, table number 12.4, you will get those values. Okay, I need to open page number 234, table number 12.7. I will show you. If you are carrying the data and book, please open 234 page number. Yeah, here you can see the allowable static stress. Okay, page number 234, table 12.4. Okay, from given material, we need to note down the sigma d, that is nothing but allowable static stress. Okay, and given material is cast steel, that is pinion heat treated. Okay, it is a heat treated, it is cast steel heat treated, means the value will be 193.2 megapascal. Here you can see that it is a megapascal. Mega Newton per meter square is nothing but Pascal. It is megapascal or mega Newton per meter square. This is for pinion, it is 193.2 megapascal. Similarly, for gear, he has given phosphor bronze. Here the value is 82.4 megapascal. From this table, I am going to note down the allowable shear, allowable static stresses for pinion as well as for gear. Okay, after note downing this, in the problem he has not given the number of teeth on gear as well as RPM of the gear. You need to find out that. Okay, for that you can use the gear ratio formula. Gear ratio is Z2 by Z1 is equal to N1 by N2. This formula is there in your data handbook. Okay. From that, I'm going to find out first the RPM of the gear. Therefore, it will be N1 by N2 is equal to I. Okay, therefore, N2 is equal to N1 by I. It is not I, it is N1. N1 by I. N1 is given as 600. I is given as gear ratio 4. From this, the N2 value you will get it as 150 RPM. Now, you need to find out the teeth on a gear. Use the gear ratio formula. I is equal to Z2 by Z1. In this, Z1 is given. Therefore, Z2 is equal to I into Z1. That is 4 into Z1 is 20. 4 20 side will be 80. Now you got both N2 and Z2. That is number of teeth on gear and RPM of the gear. After that, from Levy's formula, you need to find out the form factor, Levy's form factor. Okay, in that three equations are there. I will show that. Yeah, here it is. These are the three equations for Levy's form factor. Okay, you have to see which in the given statement. Okay, which involute whatever the teeth are there, whether it is made up of 14.5 degree full depth, whether it is 20 degree. Okay, depending upon that, you need to use the formula in the given formula, or sorry, in the statement he has given 14.5 involute system. Okay, means you have to use the equation 12.5 C. If he mentioned 20 degree involute system, means you have to refer 12.5 D equation. Or if he mentions 20 degree stub teeth system, then you have to refer 12.5 E. Depending upon this, you have to refer the following equations. Whereas in our case, he has given 14.5. That's why I will be referring 12.5 C equation. I have noted on the 12.5 C equation. In this case, substitute the value of Z1 in the formula. In the equation, only it is Z. Okay, you need to find out for both pinion as well as gear. Levy's form factor for pinion, Levy's form factor for gear, that is which is having 14.5 degree full depth involute. Substitute here for pinion means we will consider Z1. For gear means you have to substitute as Z2. Substitute Z1, Z2 value. Okay, from this you are going to get the Levy's form factor. Okay, after that, if you see the spur gear design, after this, next immediate step is you need to identify the weaker member, whichever is the weaker member. To identify the weaker member, whatever the sigma D value I note down from the table, it has to be multiplied with the Levy's form factor. Okay, in this, whichever is having lesser value, that is treated as a weak member. Okay, let me tell you, or you can see this strength factor for pinion and gear. You need to calculate sigma D into Y. Levy's form factor of pinion, you need to substitute 0.0898. Here sigma D of pinion, which you are note down, that is to be substituted. In the next step, you need to substitute for gear sigma D 82.4 into Y. Levy's form factor of gear, it is 0.1154. Substitute that. In this, you need to do the comparison, which is a greater. Can anyone answer me whether a strength factor of pinion is greater or gear is greater? Which one is greater?
Pinion.
Pinion, yes, good. In this case, you can see that pinion is greater, means from this, we can identify that since gear strength factor for gear is less than pinion, means in this, gear is weaker compared to pinion. Here you can see that since sigma D Y of pinion is greater than gear, therefore gear is weaker. Okay, and whichever is weaker, that designing has to be done. Therefore, further whatever the design procedure is there, design is based on gear. Okay. In some of the cases, if you get pinion weaker, means whatever the further design is there, it has to be done for the pinion. Okay. In the next problem, I will show take where the pinion will be having lesser, such that you will get a clear idea. Okay. After that, next step was to calculate the torque of the gear. Okay. You have to use this formula: mt is equal to p 9550 by n2 into cs. Okay. In this case, I have taken n2y because here I am designing for the weaker member. Gear is weaker member. That's why I have taken n2. In case if you are designing it for the pinion, that is if the pinion is weaker, at that time you have to write it as n1. Don't write it as n2. Okay. This has to be noted. This is important. Usually some of the students do mistake here only. Okay. If they are designing for pinion, by mistake they will write it as n2 and they will continue. And whatever the further designing is there, it will be completely wrong. Okay. If you are designing for pinion, means it has to be n1. If you are designing for gear, it has to be n2. Okay. Next, in this equation, you need to substitute the value of this cs. Okay. This in the given statement, he has given that it is subjected for light shock. Here you can see that the drive is subjected for light shock, and he has not mentioned, okay, per day how many hours that gear were running. Okay. If that is not mentioned, you have to assume it as it will be ideal, that is 8 to 10 hours per day. According to that, you need to note down the this cs value. I will show you. You have to open that 235 page number. Yes. Yes, 235. Here you can see that is whatever the cs is there. It is called as a service factor for the gear. In this case, type of load, whatever the loading is there, it is taken as light shock is given, and type of service. Okay. In whether it is working for 3 hours per day or it is continuously for entire day it is running. Okay. Better if it is not given, assume it as 8 to 10 hours per day, means the value will be 1.25. Therefore the value will be 1.25. Here I have noted down the service factor value. Service factor value, it is noted as 1.25. Okay. After p is given, it is 9 kilowatt, 9 into 10 raised to 3 into 1.25. N2 you have calculated that it is 150. Substitute that. From that you will get the torque on the gear. Next, after that, this pitch line velocity. Okay. This pitch line velocity is this formula I have told you while deriving the Levy's equation. You need to remember this: pi into m into z2. Okay, this I have taken it from the module formula. Otherwise, I will show here. Here you can see that. Yeah, this module m is equal to d by z. Okay, whatever that velocity is there, velocity, we know that it is pi dn by 60,000. Okay, d, therefore d is nothing but m into z. I substitute that d as m into z, therefore it will be pi mz2 into n2 by 60,000. Here we are designing for gear, that's why it is z2 n2. If you are designing it for weaker member pinion, it will be mz1 n1. In this case, module is not given, let it be, keep it like that only. Z2 is calculated, N2 is also calculated. Substitute both the values. Z2 is 180, N2 is 150. Okay. After that, it will be 0.6283 into M. Okay. And next is whatever the velocity is there. Okay. in this we need to take down the velocity factors. Okay, here total 2.6a to 2.6e, total 5 equations are there. In this, which one to select? Okay, depends upon the velocity, how much you are getting. Okay, in this case, pitch line velocity we are not getting. By because m is unknown. For that reason, what I will do is that I will assume that whatever the velocity which we are going to get it from this, okay, it is less than 8 meters per second. Whatever the velocity we are going to get it from this, okay, I will assume that it will be less than 8 meters per second. Okay, and after assuming that, that is here you can see that it is up to 8 meters per second. If it is more than that, okay, more than 8 and in between 13, you have to take the next 12.6 b. Like that you have to refer these equations. I will refer this 12.6 a, 12.6 a, and they substitute the value of m. Okay, substitute the value of m. Let it be like this. Now see the procedure. Next is you need to calculate the model. Why? Because in this also velocity factor module is unknown, whereas in this also m is unknown. Okay, I need to calculate the module. Okay, that I'm going to take it from 12.5b module formula. Here you can see that this is the module formula. M is equal to 2mt, or this is m cube is equal to 2mt by sigma d cv ky z. K is nothing but b by m. B is the phase width and m is the module. Okay, where k is equal to b by m, and this capital Y is nothing but pi into y. Okay, y is nothing but the Lewis form factor which you have calculated in the previous step. You can substitute that. After that, next already we have noted down the sigma d value, and cv also is known. Substitute all the values. Only k value is not known. Okay, and this k value will be given in the statement. If it is not given, it is standard one. K is equal to 12.5. You have to take k is equal to 12.5. Substitute that. Therefore, phase width b is equal to 12.5 into m. Okay. Now substitute all the values in the above equation, that is equation 12.5b. Okay. After substituting that, I will get this equation. Okay. This equation, either you can solve this in your calci or by using trial and error method. Okay, you have to substitute the values of m, okay, such that you have to try with 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Okay, uh, in between that, if you substitute 2, you will get negative value. Whatever m value is there, if you substitute m is equal to 2 here, you will get negative value. And similarly, if you substitute m is equal to 3, you will get negative value. Okay, but when you substitute m is equal to 4, you will get the positive value. Means that indicates that whatever the module m is there, it is in between 3 and 4. Here you can see that it is negative, and here when you substitute m is equal to 4, it is positive. Okay, means m value is in between 3 and 4, and we will take the greater value. Hence the value of m lies between 3 and 4, and we are going to take the greater one, that is 4. After that, you have to take the standard module from the table 12.4. Okay, this is one method. This is trial and error. One more is either you can use your calci. Okay, in that calci you can use the mode, that is equations. In that it is a cubic equation. Solve that and you will get as 3.57 something. Okay, when you want to get m is equal to 3.57, means it indicates that the module m is in between 3 and 4. Okay, therefore you can take m is equal to 4. Okay, this is important. If you have any doubt in this, you can ask me. I will clarify that and I will take the next step. Do you have any doubt in this up to this, or while finding the module? If you face any difficulty, you tell me. I will clarify that and I will take the next step. Any one of you answer?
So once again,
Once again, okay. After solving this, you will get the this cubic equation. Okay. In this, to find out the yum value, either you can use your calci, okay, equation, go to mode, okay, and after that equation, it is a cubic. Okay, solve the cubic equation. After solving that, the yum value will get it as 3.57 something. This is one method to calculate that yum value. Other method is, that is trial and error method. Okay, you have to find out the value such that whatever the yum value is there, it should be in between positive and negative, or initially you will get negative value. It should be in negative and positive. Okay, if you substitute m is equal to 2, you will get it as minus something. Okay, next I'm going to substitute m is equal to 3. I will get it as minus 16.1. Okay, and when you substitute m is equal to 4, means you will get positive value. Positive, that is 15.4. Means this indicates that whatever the m value is there, it is in between 3 and 4. Okay, and usually we will take the greater number, that is m is equal to 4, and from the calculator also you are going to get 3.57. Okay, if you consider that, therefore m is equal to 4 I will take. Now you understood this?
yes, sir.
Okay. After that, you have to take down the standard module. Okay, from table number 12.2, that is page number 229. From page number 229, open your data and book. Page number 229, 12.2, to select standard. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, so recommended series of module. It is in MM. Here you can see that whatever the model we have obtained, it is in between 3 and 4. You can take the standard one is 4. That is preferred choice 1. Always go for preferred choice 1. Okay, the value is in between 3 and 4. Let me take it as 4. Otherwise, from calci you're getting as 3.57, means the next immediate value is 4. Therefore, module is equal to 4 from the data handbook, from table 12.2. From this, the standard module is 4. After getting the module, next one is to find out the face width and similarly pitch diameter. Okay, we know that module is nothing but d by z. Okay, the formula is shown in your data and book. It is d by z. Okay, therefore d is equal to m into z. M is 4, z1 teeth on pinion, z2 is teeth on gain. Substitute both the values, you will get the pitch diameter of pinion as well as gain. After that, next is face width. Here you can see that face width k is equal to b by m. Therefore, face width b is equal to k into m. K is 12.5, m is 4. This 12.5 into 4, it is 50 mm. And whatever the pitch line velocity is there, pitch line velocity v is equal to 0.6283 into m. Okay, substitute the value of m as 4. Therefore, velocity we are going to get it as 2.5132 meters per second. Here you can see that whatever the assumptions we have done, okay, we assume that whatever the velocity is there, it will be less than 8 meters per second. Okay, and our assumption was correct. The velocity we are getting it as 2.5132. Okay, then after that substitute that and find out the c value. Otherwise, in some of the cases, you might get that whatever the velocity is there, it might be greater than 8. Okay, at that time, means whatever the assumptions here you have done is wrong. Means velocity you are getting it as more than 8, means you have to take down the next formula to find out that velocity. Otherwise, I will show you that procedure. Yes, here you can see that. Here, if the mean velocity obtained is greater than 8 meters per second, okay, calculate the velocity factor in terms of m by using the equation. By using this equation, okay, we are going to calculate the velocity. Okay, if I assume it is less than 8 means if I assume it is less than 8 means the formula will be 3.05 divided by 3.5 plus v. Okay, this is less than 8 meters per second. If it is greater than 8 meters per second means, once again you need to take down the next value, CV value. After that, next you need to repeat this 8, 9 and 10 step. What do you mean by this 8, 9 and 10 means? Here you can see that. Here I have assumed it as whatever the velocity is there, it is less than 8. That's why I have taken this formula. I have proceeded with that. I calculated the module using this 8 step. Ninth is note down the standard module. After that, calculate the pitch diameter of pinion and pitch diameter of gear. After that, the face width. Okay. And whatever the V value we are going to get, it is less than 8 means it is satisfied. In some of the case, it is important. In some of the cases, you might get velocity greater than 8 meters per second. At that time, you need to take down the next CV value, velocity factor, that is, which is greater than 8. I will show that in the data handbook. Here you can see that. Yes, here you can see that if it is less than 8 meters per second, you have to use 12.6a. If it is greater than that means you have to use 12.6b equation. By using that, you need to repeat once again. Here you can see that I use that, and once again I have repeated 8, 9 and 10 step. Okay, but in this problem, whatever the velocity I'm going to get, it is less than 8 meters per second. That's why our assumption was right. If you have any doubt in this, you can ask me. All of you understood this step? Any one of you answer? Roll number 83, Bharat.
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
You got it? Okay, thank you. After that, substitute the module in this, you will get the CV value. After that, next you need to find out the allowable static stress. We know that allowable static stress is equal to sigma D into CV. Sigma D, we have taken it from table, and CV just now you have calculated velocity factor. Multiply both these and you're going to get the allowable stress. After that, and from the induced stress formula or from module, yes, you can use this same formula 12.5 B. In this case, instead of sigma B into CV, we'll write it as sigma induced. That is the change in the formula. This is a trick how to remember that, except that remaining is same. Induced stress M cube is equal to 2mt by sigma induced stress. Okay. Instead of sigma D into CV, I have replaced it by induced stress. Now substitute the model, it is 4. Mt torque, it is calculated, substitute that, it is 397916.67 divided by K is also calculated. Okay, substitute that, it is 12.5. K is assumed, sorry, it is 12.5. Capital Y is nothing but pi into small y, which you are seeing in that equation, module equation. Whatever this capital Y is nothing but pi into small y, that is Levy's form factor. Here you are calculating it for, or you are designing it for weaker member, that is gear. Therefore, y value you have to take it for gear. That is y value for gear is 0.1154. Substitute that in this equation. It is 0.1154. Z2, why? Because you are designing it for a weaker member, that is Z2. Otherwise, if you are designing it for pinion, at the time you have to take it as Z1. Substitute that. From this induced stress, you will get it as 34.29 megapascal. Okay, if you see the induced stress, okay, induced stress or always the allowable stress has to be greater than the induced stress. Then only the design will be safe. Induced means the stress which is induced in the gear, okay, and the maximum allowable stress which a member can withstand is 45. Okay, means induced stress cannot be greater than the allowable stress. Okay, if it is greater than, it is not compulsion that it should not be greater, it will be greater. Okay, when it will be greater than that means the design of gear will fail. Here, in this case, induced stress is 34, whereas allowable stress is 45. Means allowable stress is greater than induced. Therefore, the design, whatever the design we have done is, it is safe. After that, next to find out the geometric parameters, okay, for further calculations, you have to use the optimized face width. Okay, considering how to calculate this optimized face width. Here we have calculated the face width as 50. To calculate the optimized face width, it is the induced stress divided by allowable stress multiplied by the face width, how much you have got. From that, you are going to get the optimized face width according to the design requirement. Therefore, optimized face width is allowable stress divided by, induced stress divided by allowable stress multiplied by face width. Therefore, this will be the optimized face width. And for further calculation, you have to use the optimized face width. Okay. And next, you need to note down the addendum and addendum values, tool thickness, that you have to take it from data handbook table number 12.3, page number 229. Yes, here you can see that this is the standard tooth proportions of the invalids per gear. Okay, and whatever this according to this module is there, we have to take this. Okay, therefore these are the geometric parameters. Addendum is equal to m. Therefore, whatever the module is there, that will be equal to addendum. Take that, and dedendum will be 1.25 times the module. Similarly, tooth thickness will be 1.5708 into module m. M is calculated is 4. Similarly, tooth space is same as that of tooth thickness, and working depth is 2m. Hole depth is 2.25 m module, and the clearance is 0.25 m. And all this you are studied in the terminologies of spur gear. Okay, these all geometric parameters I'm going to calculate. Similarly, pitch diameter, already you have calculated this. Outer diameter for pinion as well as for gear, you need to calculate root diameter and fillet radius. I'm going to take all these formulas from table number 12.3. Okay, I am going to take down all these formulas. Here you can see that all the formulas I have taken, these are nothing but geometric parameters. Only you have to substitute the values of m here, and you're going to get all these values. This is about the geometric parameters which you have to take it from table number 12.3, page number 229. And the next one is the dynamic load. Okay, that is there in your data handbook 12.12 equation. Yes, here you can see that dynamic load is FD. It is not by FD is equal to FT plus FI. Okay, this is the equation 12.12, and here you can see that it is FT plus K3 into V. This K3 is nothing but 20.67 in SI units. We are taking SI units, therefore substitute K3 is equal to 20.61. And whatever this K1 is there, K1 here you're going to see that whatever this C is there, okay, the C is nothing but E divided by K1, 1 divided by E1 plus 1 divided by E2. And this E is nothing but the error, dynamic factor error. Depending upon that, we need to take it from table number 12.13. I will tell you how to take down that E value. And in the given problem, it is 14.5 degree full depth teeth. According to that, you have to take. If it is given as 20 degree full depth, at that time the K1 value will be 9. Whereas now the given is 14.5 degree, therefore K1 value will be 9.345, and this is the K3 value. Both these I am going to note down now. Now you can see that I have noted down K1 and K3. Next, I need to find out the error E value, that is from table number 12.14, page number 237. Page number 237. Yes. Whatever the error is there, okay, error E here according to the velocity, okay, whatever the velocity we have calculated, from that I will take down. Here you can see that the velocity which is calculated is 2.5, therefore 2.5 velocity, the error will be 0.0840. From table number 12.14, the error will be 0.084. I'm going to take down that value. And if you see the formula, or this capital C formula, it is E divided by K1. Already you have noted down the K1 value, E value. Next is this E1, Young's modulus. Okay, that you need to take it from table number 1.1, that is page number 11. Page number 11. Yes. This is page number 11, that is physical contacts of some common materials. These are the given common materials. Okay. The E1 we have taken it as 202 and E2 is 111. Okay. This is Young's modulus. Modulus of elasticity. Modulus of elasticity E. Okay. The material given for the pinion, it is carbon steel. It is mentioned as carbon steel. Therefore, it is 202 into 10 raised to 4. Here you can see that modulus of elasticity is 10 raised to 4 mega Newton per meter square. It is 10 raised to 3 mega Newtons per meter square. I think this is there is a printing mistake in this. It is a minus. Okay, you need to make the correction as plus. You need to make it as plus. Don't write it in the data and book. You need to know that it is plus 3, not minus 3. 10 raised to plus 3. Therefore, it is 202 into 10 raised to 3 carbon steel. And for gear, it is phosphorus bronze. It is 111 into 10 raised to 3. This is how I have taken both these values. After that, you substitute that here, you will get the value of C. Okay, C value is calculated, K3 and K1 you have taken. V is also calculated, and this B is you have to use the optimized phase width, and whatever this Ft is there. Ft is nothing but torque is nothing but force into radius. Is torque is either they will denote it as T, capital T or MT, is equal to force multiplied by radius. Okay, and this radius is nothing but D by 2. Okay, therefore F is equal to M divided by R. R is nothing but D by 2. That's how I substitute here. Here you are designing it for gear, that's why it will be D2. This will be d2 divided by 2. Okay, substitute the value of d2, mt is calculated, substitute both the values, therefore ft will get it as 2486.98. Once you are going to get this value, substitute that in the above equation, you will get the dynamic load. After substituting this in the above equation, the dynamic load you will get it as 8997.47 Newton or 8.99 kilo Newton. This is the dynamic load. After that, you need to calculate the wear load. Okay, the wear load formula is there. This is the formula for dynamic load, right? The equation for the wear load, it is 12.15a, 12.15a, here it is. Yeah, wear load, FW is equal to D1B Q into K, where K is nothing but, this is the formula which you have to use to calculate the value of K. Okay, and Q is nothing but the ratio factor, and he has given the formula. Either you can use this formula or this. Okay, using equation 12.15c, either you can use the first one or second one. Okay, find out the value of Q and use the B value, that is optimized phase width, and D1. Okay, you have to substitute the value of D1, whether you are designing it for gear or whether you are designing it for pinion, this will not change. It will D1 only, it will remain and as diameter of the pinion. You have to substitute that value only. Okay, I will take this formula. Okay, substitute that Q value, I'm going to calculate. Okay, for the design has to be, if the design has to be satisfactory, okay, the here you can see that whatever the wear load is there, it has to be greater than the dynamic load or equal to. Using this equation, I am going to take down this. Okay, substitute the values. D1, it is diameter of the pinion is 80, B is 38, Q is calculated 1.6, K is not known. Okay, keep it like that only, and this FD is calculated, that is dynamic load is calculated, it is 8.99 kilo Newton. Substitute that. From this you are going to get the value of K. Okay, once you get the value of K, once you get the value of K, you can use this equation. Use this equation, substitute the value of K. Here you're going to find out the load stress factor. This is the load stress factor. Alpha is given as 14.5. Substitute that 14.5. E1 and E2 you have taken it from the previous step, from the page number 11, table 1.1. The same values has to be substituted. From this you are going to get the, you're going to get this load stress factor. Sigma ES is nothing but load stress factor. Once you are going to get the load stress factor, in the problem he has asked, you need to mention the hardness number. Once you are going to get this value, you need to refer table number 12.16, page number 239. From that you are going to get the hardness number. 239, yes, here it is. It's a 239. Here they have given the materials for the pinion and material for the gear. Okay, these are the load stress factor for the computing limited wear load. In this, they are given the K value for 14.5 degree and 20 degree, and whatever that sigma ES is there. Okay, endurance limit, the ES sigma ES value, you have calculated that. Okay, according to that you need to mention the hardness. Okay, and in the given problem, what is the material which is or which material is used for pinion? Can anyone tell me? Pinion and gear. Material of pinion and gear. Can anyone answer? Which material is used for pinion? Any one of you answer? Pinion and gear. Nobody knows?
Cast iron.
Cast iron, not cast iron.
Cast steel.
Yes, it is a pinion is made up of cast steel and gear is made up of phosphor bronze. Okay. According to that, you need to find out the Brinell hardness number. BHN is nothing but Brinell hardness number. It is pinion is cast steel, whereas gear is phosphor bronze. And whatever this endurance limit which you have calculated, it is 864. You calculate it as 864. According to that, our value is 864. In this table, you need to refer where it is 864. Here it is, yeah, 858 is there, and according to that, the K value it is 1.275, and the K value how much we are getting? K value we are getting it as 1.84. Okay. Here it is almost near to this. Okay, we can take it as 350 and 350 for pinion as well as for gear. Here you can see that surface hardness for pinion and gear, it is 350 BHN, Brinell hardness number. Okay, this is the complete design of Brinell hardness number. If you have understood or if you have any doubts in this, you can ask me. I will clarify that doubt. Any one of you are having any doubts? First, you need to go through the design procedure completely. After that, it will be easy for you. Why? Because here we will be referring different tables and different equations. Okay. Once you are perfect in that, it will be easy for you to solve this problem. A standard procedure is there. You need to follow that standard procedure. Any one of you have any doubts? Otherwise, I will ask. Vishal, roll number 111. Do you have any doubts?
Sir, that last step once again.
Okay, this surface hardness.
Yes, sir.
After finding this sigma ES and K value, next you need to find out the Brinell hardness number. For that, you have to refer the 12.16. Okay, here the load factor is there and a different material is given. Okay, similarly for pinion as well as gear, you need to see that which material they have given. Okay, and according to that, ours is a 14.5 degree K value. According to that, you have to see the K value. If the involute is or whatever the alpha angle is given, it is 20 degree, means you have to refer this. In our case, we have calculated K value, it is 1.8 we are getting. Okay, and endurance limit we are calculated, and that value is 864. 864 means after 858, the next 864 is not there, means you can take 892, and this is almost nearer to the K value, means you can select this. According to this, the Brinell hardness number is 350 for pinion, and for gear, the Brinell hardness number is also 350. This is how you need to find out them. You understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any other doubts? All of you understood?